do, and I'll just read the thing, um, which I forgot to get ready. Yeah. Um, so welcome everyone to the Reflections on the 12 Steps. Just a friendly announcement. This is not an AA meeting. This is just one member's view on the exact nature of the wrong as described on page 64 of the Big Book and the solutions contained within. This is not an all-share meeting, though shares there will be, but actually a question and answer meeting with Paul. So I've picked from page 40, just after the resentment inventory. Um, I think it's page 40. I'm not actually sure what edition this is, though. Just after the inventory and then a couple of paragraphs down, if we were to live, we had to be free of anger.
I think that's around 60 something.
Oh, yeah, okay. I have a weird edition here.
I'm trying to find it now. Uh, well, read it and I'll tell you.
Okay. If we were to live, we had to be free of anger.
All right, hold on. That's the third paragraph on page 66
Page
with the
66.
regular. She has the Irish edition.
Yeah, it's
That's,
shorter.
that's why they've had so much trouble.
We
They,
cut out the bits we didn't want to hear.
there's a huge amount of the book missing. You're at page 66, third paragraph.
Yeah.
In this one I have. Yeah.
Okay, 66. Thanks. So if we were to live, we had to be free of anger. The grouch and the brainstorm were not for us. They may be the dubious luxury of normal men, but for alcoholics, these things are poison. We turned back to the list, for it held the key to the future. We were prepared to look for it from an entirely different angle. We began to see that the world and its people really dominated us. In that state, the wrongdoing of others, fancied or real, had power to actually kill. How could we escape? We saw that these resentments must be mastered, but how? We could not wish them away any more than alcohol. This was our course. We realized that the people who wronged us were perhaps spiritually sick. Though we did not like their symptoms and the way these disturbed us, they, like ourselves, were sick too. We asked God to help us show them the same tolerance, pity, and patience that we would cheerfully grant a sick friend. When a person offended, we said to ourselves, "This is a sick man. How can I be helpful to him? God save me from being angry. Thy will be done." We avoid retaliation or argument. We wouldn't treat sick people that way. If we do, we destroy our chance of being helpful. We cannot be helpful to all people, but at least God will show us how to take a kindly and tolerant view of each and every one. Referring to our list again, putting out of our minds the wrongs others had done, we resolutely looked for our own mistakes. Where had we been selfish, dishonest, self-seeking, and frightened? Though a situation had not been entirely our fault, we tried to disregard the other person involved entirely. Where were we to blame? The inventory was ours, not the other man's. When we saw our faults, we listed them. We placed them before us in black and white. We admitted our wrongs honestly and were willing to set these matters straight. Notice that the word fear is bracketed alongside the difficulties with Mr. Brown, Mrs. Jones, the employer, and the wife. This short word somehow touches about every aspect of our lives. It was an evil and corroding thread. The fabric of our existence was shot through with it. It set in motion trains of circumstances which brought us misfortune we felt we didn't deserve. But did not we ourselves set the ball rolling? Sometimes we think fear ought to be classed with stealing. It seems to cause more trouble. We reviewed our fears thoroughly. We put them on paper, even though we had no resentment in connection with them. We asked ourselves why we had them. Wasn't it because self-reliance failed us? Self-reliance was good as far as it went, but it didn't go far enough. Some of us once had great self-reliance, self-confidence, but it didn't fully solve the fear problem or any other. When it made us cocky, it was worse. Perhaps there is a better way. We think so, for we are now on a different basis, the basis of trusting and relying upon God. We trust infinite God rather than our finite selves. We are in the world to play the role He assigns, just to the extent that we do as we think He would have us, and humbly rely on Him, does He enable us to match calamity with serenity. We never apologize to anyone for depending upon our Creator. We can laugh at those who think spirituality the way of weakness. Paradoxically, it is the way of strength. The verdict of the ages is that faith means courage. All men of faith have courage. They trust their God. We never apologize for God. Instead, we let Him demonstrate through us what He can do. We ask Him to remove our fear and direct our attention to what He would have us be. At once, we commence to outgrow fear.
Yeah. Well, that's they're going over the inventory process. And basically, it's sort of like you've been in the rain, now you're in the house, but you're still dripping. Yeah. So basically, you're still in the throes of that maelstrom of resentment and anxiety and stuff like that. And they're giving you some suggestions of how to deal with it on that point, at that point. Yeah. And that one thing is the famous one of seeing other people as maybe sick as you are and starting doing stuff like that. So I'll just read it and we'll go off into it. So page 66, third paragraph. If we were to live, we had to be free of anger. Now, how I see it is a recognition of just not owning the anger, which will allow it to diminish. Because again, if I read this from the head's point of view, it sounds like it's another order. I've got to be free of anger, and I'm probably going to fail. Yeah, because things are going to trigger the head and it's going to get resentful and angry. So how about seeing the anger isn't yours in a sense? Yeah, and place the responsibility or the accountability of the anger onto the thing that has defeated us self. Yeah, this is really the dance rhythm we're sharing here while in recovery. We're not take we don't I don't anyway see that we are the source of all our troubles and we are the one manufacturing resentment and fear and all this. I don't believe that. I believe we're like a factory that can produce a lot of goods and it's going to be based on who's running the factory. So he says it here very clearly. Perhaps there's a better way, and the better way is trusting the infinite rather than finite self. So I'm so here it goes. If we were to live, we had to be free of anger. The grouch and the brainstorm were not for us. They may be the dubious luxury of normal men, but for alcoholics, these things are poison. We turn back to the list, so we basically have done the fourth step, the action of it. Yeah, and we're now looking at it. We were prepared to look at it from an entirely different angle. That's what we're trying to share here. Seriously. Yeah. We're trying to look at what has defeated us from a different angle, that it's not us. That is it. That's what I'm standing here for. And it's not in order. It's a suggestion. Maybe you can look at it this way and it's going to bring you some relief. Yeah. But I believe here, as it says right there, we turned back to list for it held the key to the future. We were prepared to look at it from an entirely different angle. Are you prepared to look at it from an entirely different angle? What's the old angle? They're your resentments. They're your fears. They're your harming unto others. They're your selfishness. They're your self-will. Yes? This is a completely different angle. They're not your self. There is fear. There is resentment. There is anger, but they're not yours. Completely different point of view. This is exactly what we do as a group, I feel, is share this completely different angle. I believe through observation and experience uh, that what has defeated to me is foreign to me. Yeah. It's almost as if you've had a 20-year flu. After a few months, you would call the symptoms of the flu your symptoms. Yes or no? Yes, you would. If you had a flu that lasted that long, in a short amount of time, you would forget that it was the flu symptoms and you would be calling them your symptoms. This is what alcoholism is. Alcoholism is like the flu of the mental state. Yeah. Yeah. And yet, what we walk around with as its symptoms, we say are our symptoms. This is the bondage of self. What else can it be? Yeah. What self and what bonds us to it? We're the question mark. They don't define what we are. They define what we're not, which is self. That's what they do. And they say we're in a condition called the bondage of self. How could that condition look? Or what may it appear to look like? Which is you're taking its manifestations as your manifestations. That's a simple, that's it. Yeah. So the head is talking as and it's describing its condition, and we say it's our condition. And its condition can be killing us because we don't see it as something other than our condition. Yeah. So we let it have power over us by being in the act of being identified as it. Now you're not doing that act. You're not sitting planning on selfing all day. The head is doing the act, and we've harbor it, we've permitted it, as it says here, we're letting it. Yeah. And I believe it's because we lack a common, simple understanding that something has taken us over. Just like you see illnesses take people over. You have an idea of somebody, and after a few months of cancer, you have a completely different idea of that somebody. Yeah. Because something has taken them over. Yeah. Maybe they get so fucking pissed off and they're not tolerant anymore because they're under a lot of pain. Yeah. Would you blame the person or would you point the finger at the illness? So we were prepared to look at it from an entirely different angle. This is an entirely different angle. I've been in this community for quite a while. I was more active, let's say, on the battlefield for the first 20 years or so. I have seen a lot of people sit down, do the inventory, and realize and claim my resentments, my fear, my harm done to others in the pursuit of what I wanted. And after doing the inventory and leaving the inventory, they leave with my resentment, my fear. Yeah. The basis of the disease, they bring it into the inventory and it goes with them after they leave the inventory. Yeah. When it clearly says on page 64 that self is what has defeated us. It defines us as different than self. Obviously, in one sentence, it says self is the defeater and us is the defeated. And how does it defeat us? By its manifestations in our life. Oh, what? How many of them? There could be hundreds, but we're going to look at three of the common ones. What are they? Resentment, fear, and harms done to others in the pursuit of what you want. Maybe what you want isn't what you want. Maybe you're being driven, you're being used for something else to get what it wants. It sure seems like it, because it seems like it has the, it's amazing that millions of people like apple pie. Yeah. Millions of people like drama and fucking and vindictiveness and grievance. Yeah. I would think it's a shared condition. It's not unique. Yeah. The parasite has demonstrated its traits. They've been noticed. They've actually been put down in the book. Yeah. So that the person who's suffering from this takeover can recognize it and hopefully see it's not them. Yes. And I think it's about time the whole community as a whole moves forward. Yeah. And starts recognizing, go back and look at the fourth column and look at your role in things, and you'll see that a lot of your role in things has a commonality with all the other people that suffer with alcoholism. They seem to have the same role as you did in a lot of the same fucking things. Yeah. Maybe it's not you. And I found great relief from this recognition. I just have. And it's become the basis of how I view the program. And it hasn't changed in 30 something years. It's actually just gotten more and more developed. Yeah. So we were prepared to look at it from an entirely different angle. What would that entirely different angle? Your resentment? No, it's not my resentment, your resentment. Yeah. Yes, we were, it was your, then it's my. No, they're both ill. Yeah. So we began to see that the world and its people really dominated us. From the old way we were looking at life, people and situations dominate us. We have a feeling, a vague feeling of powerlessness, and it seems like a lot of people lord over us. Yeah. And what they do have an inordinate amount of effect on me. And we get fucking pissed off. But we keep trying to manage and control and not recognize the dilemma of powerlessness. Yeah. In that state, what state? In that state, I was looking at the world and I realized, I didn't realize, but people were dominating me. The world and people were dominating me. Yeah. In that state, he goes into the wrongdoing of others, fancied or real, had power to actually kill. So it doesn't have power to kill, but it can appear to have power to kill if you're in a prior condition. What is that condition? That the world and its people run roughshod over me. Yeah. I keep trying to control and manage, and I don't have the power to do it. Can't seem to get it. So therefore, I just start festering with resentment and all this other shit and mental anxiety that's triggering fear all day. Yeah. And of course, we want to blame others and the world for this condition. But what role do we have in it? Yes. Yeah. And what role does something else have in it? So, in this condition, the world and its people dominated us. The wrongdoing of others, fancy or real, had power to actually kill. That's insane. Yeah. So fancied or real is the idea of seemingly, which is in the beginning of one of the preambles or the forwards of the book. They say we are 100 men and women who have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. Seemingly, it can appear to be true or not to us. Yeah. So we're in a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. Shit that isn't true, false evidence, is appearing real to us. Yeah. And in that case, that which is appearing real to us can actually kill us. Isn't that insane? Yeah. We saw that okay, so had power to actually kill. How could we escape? Let's drink. Let's get loaded. Yeah. Let's watch Die Hard 2 to 12. Let's do this. Let's do that. Tons of shit we try to do to avoid this. Yeah. How could we escape? Well, shooting coke. You'll escape for about 4 or 5 minutes. You will. Yeah. But you'll probably won't escape from the cops in about an hour. We could not wish them away any more than alcohol. I would say alcoholism. Yeah. We could not wish them away. Once again, a demonstration of our seeming powerlessness. Yeah. Can't wish them away. We can't make them go away. This was our course. The people that are here, this was our course. We realized that the people who wronged us were perhaps spiritually sick. So this is the first ointment that is put on the wound. The wound is going to heal. Yeah, it is. But right now it's festering. So this is what they suggest. When you're looking at life from that old point of view, perhaps we realize that the people who wronged us were perhaps spiritually sick as we are. Yeah. Though we did not like their symptoms and the way these disturbed us, they, like ourselves, were sick too. We ask God to help us show that the same tolerance. This is how you deal with an open wound, so to speak. Yes? They're doing triage right now. This isn't how you look at it later on, in a sense. It changes. Yeah? Yeah. We're sick too. We ask God to help us show them the same tolerance, pity, and patience that we would cheerfully grant a sick friend. When a person offended, we said to ourselves, "This is a sick man. How can I be helpful to him? God save me from being angry. Thy will be done." So basically, if you're walking around with all these open wounds, this is the triage. If you recover from the underlying causes and conditions, these wounds are going to scab over and disappear. Yes? You're going to have a new attitude and a new outlook. We avoid retaliation or argument. We wouldn't treat sick people that way. If we do, we destroy our chance of being helpful. We cannot be helpful to all people, but at least God will show us how to take a kindly and tolerant view of each and every one. So we go back to the list, referring to our list again, putting out of our minds the wrongs others had done. We resolutely looked for our own mistakes. I would definitely follow exactly what it says when you do your first inventory, but maybe when you look back on it, you'll see some other information. When had we been selfish, dishonest, self-seeking, and frightened? There's the foreign nature in three of those statements: selfish, self-seeking, and frightened. Though a situation had not been entirely our fault, we tried to disregard the other person involved entirely. If you've been in recovery, you know one of the first big waves of recovery is seeing your role in things, finally. Yeah. So referring to our list again, so basically, when you start the resentment inventory, obviously everyone who's in a bar does the first two columns of the inventory. They know who they're mad at and why, but it just leads to another drink. So in AA, we emphasize the fourth column, not the first column. Uh, So we write down the person or the thing or the place that we resent. We make a little short thing, why. We look at how it affected our instinctual drives and basically, hopefully, check out who's managing those instinctual drives, which is self. Yes. And then we go to the fourth column and we ask ourselves, where were we selfish, dishonest, inconsiderate? Yes. Yes. Because now we're owning the disease so that we can truly disown it later. Yeah. First, we got to go through the process of owning it, and then we can disown it. Yeah. I think we've gotten stalled at the disowning part, yeah, as a whole. So, where we go? Okay, so how can I be, thy will be done? Yes, thy will is done. Really. We avoid retaliation or argument. We wouldn't, okay, referring to our list again, putting out of our minds the wrongs others had done. We resolutely look for our own mistakes. Where had we been selfish, dishonest, self-seeking, and frightened? Though I believe we're the carrier of those effects, I don't believe we're the doer of those effects. I truly believe where it says in the book, we were driven by 100 forms of fear and stuff like that. I basically think that's a common condition of being driven. Now, there's an option of what will drive you. And AA's option is why not trust the infinite and rather than finite self? Because they're both there's seemingly two positions of driver. It's either finite self or infinite. Yeah. And you'll know the driver by its fruits. Yeah. So walk around the car and every day there's new dents and fucking scratches and shit. Or you walk around the car and it looks fine. It's made it through the day successfully. So, all right, though the situation had not been entirely our fault, we tried to disregard the other person involved entirely. Where were we to blame? The inventory was ours. Now, if you don't believe you have a resentment, it's all chilled out. You know, at one point the resentment was alive, and at this point the head is still using the resentment. Yeah. So you were, and where are you? So where were you selfish, and where are you being selfish now? Because the head is using the past to affect right now the present. Yes. Yeah. So, though the situation had not been entirely our fault, we tried to disregard the other person involved entirely. Where were we to blame? The inventory was ours, not the other man's. When we saw our faults, hopefully, when you see your faults, you'll realize they're not your faults. I hope. Yeah. Again, that's what we're suggesting here. When you see your faults, they're not your faults. They're manifestation of self through you into your life. Yeah. This is how we see it. So uh, when we saw our faults, we listed them. We placed them before us in black and white. We admitted our wrongs honestly and were willing to set these matters straight. So you're getting ready for the amends and stuff. Notice that the word fear is bracketed alongside the difficulty. So it goes back a couple pages to the inventory thing there. So they're saying you're going back to that. So the fabric, the short word somehow touches about every aspect of our lives. This is what's truly insane. There is a valid emotion of fear, but the alcoholic mind strums it like an instrument with mental anxiety and has you as if you are under an apparent threat, imagining it in one's head. Yeah. It's almost like like these people who are microdosing. It's like a micro electrocution all day. Yeah. It's just like the system is always, you know, danger, danger. What's the guy from Lost in Space? Danger, Jimmy, or danger. It's going off. You can't fucking fix the wiring. Danger, danger. Man. If you felt fear where you were moved to run or fight, you can tell the difference between fear originating from to a reaction of a threat or the mental anxiety brand of fear. Yes, you can tell the difference. If you totally, some people go into panic attacks, and I bet your adrenaline is released in the panic attacks, but most people don't get to that level. Yeah. When you see a shark in the water, there's going to be an adrenaline dump. Yeah. Because you got to swim away as fast as you can. Yeah. Did you? The mental anxiety is like a draining. It drains, yes? It drains you, drains you, drains you. When we, all right. Uh, this short word somehow touches about every aspect of our lives because alcoholism touches every aspect of our lives. Yes? It's like an animal. It wherever it goes, it pisses. The pissing is like this mental anxiety. Yeah. Every fucking aspect out of our lives, it comes through and pisses all over it. Even sobriety. You're in sobriety, but I bet you I won't be by the end of the week. Yes? It's just insane. It was an evil and corroding thread. The fabric of our existence was shot through with it. Wow. So it's going to be difficult to separate this one fabric, this one thread of fear with the fabric of our existence, because right now it's not fear, it's mental anxiety. Yeah. And we're drenched in it. Yeah. With if you had a knowledge about sharks and you were on land, would you be afraid of a shark? No, because you know it can't get on land yet. Yeah. So I had this once. We were given a talk, and these people go, and I was in a chair in a room, and they go, "Are you afraid of sharks?" I said, "Not now. Not afraid of sharks. But if I was in the ocean, I could be afraid of sharks. Yeah. But I have an understanding of sharks. They don't got legs yet. So I think I'm safe in this chair. That's all lost. It's lost in the head. People, if they looked around, they would say, that signifies okay. That signifies I'm okay. That signifies I'm okay. That signifies I'm okay. That signifies I'm okay. I'm not okay. What the hell? What the hell's going on? Uh, so it was an evil and corroding thread. The fabric of our existence was shot through with it. It, not you. Fear set in motion trains of circumstances which brought us misfortune we felt we didn't deserve. Where are you responsible? Fear, yes. You see the connection? The last sentences was talking about fear. This sentence, they're talking about fear. They call it it. Yeah. Fear, set in motion trains of circumstances which brought us misfortune we felt and we feel we didn't deserve. in that sentence, are you the responsible one? Or are you the one that's being used? I say you're the one that's being used. Yes? It's like taking a fall for your brother. He robs a bank and then you go and confess that you did it. What insane. Yes? And I'll tell you, if you're in this program, you'll hear people confessing crimes that they didn't do. Yeah? The same crimes that you seem to have done, they're doing. Why? Because they and me weren't doing it. Something was doing it through us. The same behavior in Italy, in America, in Canada. Yeah. There's not like a breed of Italian alcoholics or Swedish alcoholics. There's alcoholism that overrides Swedish, Italian, Irish, anything. All of your identities, it will wash out. Yeah. And what you will be is an alcoholic from Ireland, not an Irish alcoholic. It set in motion trains of circumstances which brought us misfortune we felt we didn't deserve. But did not we ourselves set the ball rolling? No, I would answer that no. Yeah. I would not take responsibility for a disease manifesting through me. I would not. Yeah. But did not we ourselves set the ball rolling? Sometimes we think fear ought to be classed with stealing. It seems to cause more trouble. Mental anxiety is like a leak. Yes. It's like a leak in your boat. You don't want to deal with it every day, but if you don't deal with it after a few days, your boat is sort of going under. Yes. So then you got to throw it out and it just keeps on fucking leaking. So here, we reviewed our fears thoroughly. Okay, let's sit down and review them. We put them on paper, even though we had no resentment in connection with them. A lot of people run into this when they do the 4 column inventory. They don't have anything for the second column because they don't have any reason to be anxious. Yeah. So basically, I'm sort of super anxious, and then they go, "Why?" Well, I don't have any real reason. So this, column two is can be blank because it's not coming from reality. It's coming from your head. Yeah. So uh, we reviewed our fears thoroughly, put them on paper, even though we had no resentment in connection with them. We asked ourselves why we had them. All right, we can do that right now. We asked ourselves why we had them. They jump in and answer for us, thank God, or this book would have been about 500 pages. And here it is. It says, wasn't it because self-reliance has failed us? What? So the big boogeyman of fear, the cause of all disruption and chaos, is actually an effect of a prior condition, which is self-reliance. So self-reliance is the petri dish where fear is thriving in. Yes, it's growing. So if you know that, why would you want to go directly and try to deal with fear? Why not deal with self-reliance? That's the cause of it. Yeah. We asked ourselves why we had them. Wasn't it because self-reliance failed us? There you go. So are you going to rely on self and try to work yourself out of it? That's going to fail you. Why? Because self-reliance fails you. It's a failed system. You're not unique. Yeah. Do you think you're the only person that self-reliance has failed? It's got a huge, huge It's obviously not failing there. You're not in that person's head. This is a subjective event. They may look like they're doing great, but their head is drilling another asshole up there. So faith in finite self is what? Self-reliance. Yeah. Perhaps there's a better way. What is that way? Reliance on a higher power. How is that going to look? Loss of interest in self. How can I do that? You can't. Follow the program, the principles, the suggestions, and something will work on you and put you in a condition that you can't produce yourself. Yeah, that's it. That's the situation here. So wasn't it because self-reliance failed us? Self-reliance was good as far as it went. I wouldn't throw that bone at all. He's throwing a bone. Uh, I would I would abstain from throwing that bone. But it didn't go far enough. That means it's failed. Yes? Yes? It's don't blame it. It can't go far enough. Yeah. If you keep whipping a dead horse, it's not the horse's mistake. It's your mistake. Yes? The horse is dead. It can't go anywhere. Stop whipping it. So self-reliance cannot go far enough. It won't admit it can't complete the mission. It won't, and it will never admit that. You'll have to go to your innermost self to find the admittance there. Truly. That's really where the admittance occurs, is the innermost, not this head. Yeah. So some of us had once had great self-confidence, but it didn't had once great self-confidence. We don't have it now, but it didn't fully solve the fear problem or any other. What? When it made us cocky, it was worse. Perhaps there is a better way. We think so. For we are now on a different basis. The basis, what is the different basis? The basis of trusting and relying upon, I would say, a higher power. I don't like the word God. It means has too many meanings. But let's say you can feel like when you're in a current, you can feel when it's strong and it's weak. Yes? When you're caught in like you're getting towed out, an undertow. I've been in undertows, and that there's difference. There's strong undertows and there's weaker undertows. Yeah. You can feel power. There's strong power, some diseases. You get a cold, uh, and then it turns into something else. Yeah. So there is different powers. And we have been living under the dominance of a lower power, and we're in through this process, we're being introduced to a higher power, a stronger power. Yeah. And it seems very wise for us to turn our will or make a decision, because right now it's not under our command, making a decision to allow our will and life to be turned over to the care of this higher power. And I've been under that care for 37 years. I got no complaints. Yeah. Under the other thing, in 37 minutes, I would be full of complaints. So we trust infinite God rather than our finite self. That's it. So tell the truth about trusting finite self, and that starts the ball rolling to the other side. And then you'll find yourself trusting the infinite. And then look at the results. You'll know the tree by its fruits. The verdict, oh, here we go. God rather than our finite selves. We are in the world to play the role he assigns. You know how relieving this is? Yes? it's very, very relieving to have a sense that you are in this world to play the role this power assigns. It is such a beautiful attitude. It's a new real attitude and a new outlook. Yes, as they say in the promises. It's really a new attitude and a new outlook. And that attitude is we are here to play a role that something else has assigned. Fucking great. Yes. To play the role he assigns, just to the extent that we do as we think he would have us and humbly rely on him, does he enable us to match calamity with serenity instead of matching calamity with calamity. We can actually match calamity with serenity. It doesn't mean not going to be any calamity. You're just going to travel lighter through it. Yes? There's tons of calamities. If you're in a body, for no intent, for no reason at all, you step your first step and your knee fucking hurts. Yeah. So this is there's a lot of calamities that can occur. But if you are the one that's bringing the biggest calamity to every calamity, yeah. So and then he goes off on, not apologizing for this. So yeah, that's how I see it. Uh, we were talking to a sort of a new person last night, and you just get directed, and I felt like breaking the news to him that getting sober is is a very important thing, but the real thing is recovery. Yeah, recovery. So to see a difference between the meetings and the steps are the program of recovery. The meetings do a lot of stuff to really help us and motivate us to continue the program of recovery. Uh, But obviously, it's been known in the program that uh, after a while, meetings alone may not fulfill the need that's necessary, getting to the underlying causes and conditions. And this is when you enter recovery. Yeah. One is you stop drinking, and then there's an entering of recovery. And because many of us know people that are sober, but they'd probably be better off not being sober. Yeah, they're really fucking flipped out and shit. Yeah, they're ready to blow in any second because recovery hasn't been entered and enter. Uh, yeah, so this is all about the steps, seeing your role in things, and then we're adding on maybe after you take responsibility, you'll see what was truly responsible. And it wasn't you. Thank God. Yeah. Yes. All right. So let's open it up. If anyone wants to share. Thank you, Jess.
Um, yeah, thanks, Paul. Um, Peter, you had your hand up earlier. Would you like to come in? I'll just unmute you. Where are you gone? There.
All right, just riffed, but this is a meaty piece
That was good. Yeah.
of the program. So,
Great.
yes.
Thank you.
Peter Alcoholic. Thanks, Paul. Yeah, a few things with everything you went through there. I just ran into something online where this guy he put up a post online to take somebody through the steps in one go. And I was like, oh, what's this? And I just said, okay, and it turned out to be like a 9-hour Zoom call. But I'm really grateful I did it because one of the things it highlighted, which I think you point out a lot, was like I didn't realize all the other times when I did the steps, like when I got to that fourth step, like I was always left alone and just doing this fourth step in this group on the call, it was like seen from a totally different place. And I could see that, all the other times where it became so much more difficult because of the head, because of, it seems like any space it gets to try and, what to say, it just wants to drag out. Yeah, it just wants to drag out some, subject object activity more in any way possible. And it really highlighted in this little workshop. And he actually he expressed how this format that he gave to everybody in the call, he said this came from Dr. Bob. It's a direct format from him. And I think I heard at one point over the different sobrieties somebody saying how back in the day they used to do it in like one go. And I don't know, it was just I somehow I felt like it's somehow connected to you because I feel like the way you speak about the steps and just it's almost like, I hear your voice and it's always like you're almost like I experience you, you're like the knight that's trying to make sure the this disease doesn't use this work to just cement itself to keep its activity going.
Yes.
Because, like you say, there's something that needs to get seen, but then it needs to be, you know, disowned or if
Yeah.
something wants to, no, I still need to do more therapy, and it just wants to drag this selfish, self-centered thing as far as it possibly can, and it can take it, right? It can really, you know, but yeah, I just anyway,
That's great. And probably because you were with a group, then you see it differently also. So
for sure.
the we has a good role in that. But yeah, I don't, whatever works. The point in this case, a lot of the end justifies a lot of the means. Yes. Yeah. So I don't, yeah, it's just, yeah, I would just like to have a new basis that has a larger percentage of relief in it than a lot of basis. Yeah. And I believe it's easy if you recognize the foreign nature of the problem. Yeah. You just, there's nothing like thinking it's you to put a lot of weight on something. Yeah. When, like a conversation, when you think it's about you, you're very, very interested in hearing it. Once you realize it's not about you, the interest goes somewhere else. Well, we're using that example on this certain scale. Yes. The whole program pivots on a loss of interest in self, and self cannot do that. It cannot perform what's necessary, which is a loss of interest in self. Self can't get out of self. Yep. When self wants to get out of self, that's just more interest in self. So it cannot do it. So the program does. It allows you to lose interest in self. And one of the ways is to recognize what has defeated you is not you. You're gonna because then the program direction of the interest and attention will be changed. Your interest and attention will not go to you all day. It will go to what's happening more. Yeah. And maybe your day will become enriching instead of enslaving. Yeah. So the whole thing is pivots on a loss of interest in self. Yes, the whole thing. And you have to realize that you can't set out to lose interest in self. That's going to probably be self losing interest in self, which is interest in self. So, yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Peter. I'm happy for you.
And
Yeah.
just one last thing on that. Wouldn't it make sense though that the fourth step, like to me, that having done so many four steps all on my own in the past, and then this time it wasn't on my own, and I could immediately see like, wow, this is different. Like I could recognize something couldn't like overwallow and like almost like really take
Yeah.
me down. And I've never noticed, you know, with everything you just shared, it seems like the fourth step would be the last step that would be a good thing to do on your own. Because wouldn't that be like the perfect place for the self to go, okay, now it's my time to put some new seeds and to really start watering get some new territory going again, you know? Anyway,
Yes. Yes. Well, the buoyancy was produced by the we. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Great. And we have just,
Thank you.
oh, you're welcome, man.
Good morning, afternoon. Peter, I haven't seen you for a long time. Do you know who this is? Yeah, man, long time.
Oh, good.
Uh, Thanks for sharing on this. And I was thinking about there were so many things that came up here. And for me, about the trust, I had to start to see what I was actually trusting in so I could have trust in something else. And something that came up about faith too is in the Bible, the word remember is in there twice as many times as the word faith. And the origin of the word remember is to be mindful. And what I realized when I started doing these inventories was that my anxiety was always pushing me whenever I had anxiety, I was in the future. And when I was in depression, I was in the past. And what I kind of realized, and it's taken a while, it takes quite a while, is this isn't a mental process. I was trying to do this intellectually, which was the self. And this is a spiritual thing. It's something above it. And all my life, I've gone back and forth. What I started to see as I was going back and forth horizontal, and I needed to get a place. This is getting kind of deep, but I needed to get above. I don't call it the head, I call it the mind because we talk about this dis-ease of the mind. And I had to find a way to get above that. And that's what I loved about seeing these steps. And also what I realized that it does not want to be seen. It does. Last thing it wants to do is actually be seen because if it's really seen, it's gone. But the difficult thing, and maybe you can talk about is this is not intellectual. But for many years, this was an intellectual thing for me. I was thinking about it instead of actually seeing it. Two different things, but it can't be seen. It can't be seen until it's seen. And but there's some really good things. And the other thing I wanted to make a comment on it was when I was doing these inventories, I had to really see that I wasn't driven. I'd been chased all my life. I've been chased from one activity to the next. But that's really all I wanted to say. Good morning, afternoon, wherever
Great.
you are.
Thank you. Uh, what was the thing you wanted? Oh, about it's not an intellectual thing. But the thinking is great in a lot of ways because it'll show you it's failed. Yeah. Thinking is of a failed system. So, uh, and I find everything is used or given value in this process. So to realize something has failed is maybe because you've been using it for quite a while will speed up the recognition that it's failed. Yeah, because sooner or later those sticking out thumbs are going to be seen. Yeah, so think away in a sense and try to see if you can think differently. It's funny because thinking goes down deep grooves. Yeah. And there's not that many of them. There's not that many deep grooves, and they're all circular. They all are, they rotate and over again. So we're rethinking a lot. Yeah. And re-feeling and rehashing and re. This thing is on playback a lot. Yeah, the narrative being spewed by the mental activity is on playback. It just repeats, repeats, repeats. Yeah, and so in one way, there's value in that because if a failed systems enough, you'll realize it's failed. Yeah. Because it's hard for it to hide it after a while. So there's value in it in a sense that way. But of course, you're not going to get a solution to a problem that comes from the mental process through the mental process. That's Einstein said it, and it's a simple application. The system that is producing the problem isn't going to produce the solution to it. But in a way, the system that is producing the problem can bring value by realizing it's producing the problem. Yeah. So you don't look for a solution, but you see the problem of it, and that becomes a solution. Yes. So I really, yeah, that's all I had to listen to for years in my life was thought. Yes. Yes. It was the one that was there to protect me and allow me to avoid a lot of discomfort and shit. It just became an oversized howl, like in 2001. It had its own mission about the mission. So, so yeah, perhaps there's a better way. Trusting the infinite. Now, trusting the infinite is not having faith in thoughts. It isn't. Yeah. Faith in thoughts is what leads to the bondage of self because the thoughts are infected with alcoholism. Yeah, the thought system. Yeah. So, it looks like a beautiful stream in the woods, but it's poison. There's a big salvage plant down up the stream you're not seeing. So you're drinking of a tainted well, so to speak. Yes? It's just all infected. It's nothing right or wrong with it. It's just not what we believed it was meant to do or be. It can't deliver the goods. So you have to find refuge. And to me, that's the refuge they found. They gave it a name of a spiritual solution. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'm all for that. Yeah, yeah. All right. Anyone else? Thank you, Brad. Thank you. And this is where old friends get meet again, like myself and Jacob and stuff. Yes, very nice.
Mm.
Rick Rowe hasn't left, so I'm always seeing him. Nice to see you. All right. No, we're done.
Anybody else like to raise your hand?
Well, it's a very nice, and we'll be here today later on again at 4:30 Pacific time under the banner of not the non-duality idea. All right. So Jess, thank you. It's a great reading. I would question that book in Ireland. It's a little bit.
I think it's one of those, it belongs to my friend. It's one of those Amazon ripoffs, I think.
Oh, all right. Yes. It's it's a subtle subliminal message. Keep buying from Amazon. Well, all right. Kerry, nice to not see you, Kerry. He's disappeared. Jess, thank you.
Thank
Michael,
you.
Michael Stacy, as always. Steve Butler, he's still in Novato. Mitesh, John in Glastonbury. Paula, nice to see you again. Joseph, as always, in France. Alex, nice to see you. Rick Rowe, Toronto. Annette, up in upstate New York, I think. Rico Cruz. Sean, somebody sent me a couple of pounds of coffee from New York anonymously, and it's quite good. I like it. So I just tell them thank you very much. Sent me 2 pounds.
Mm.
So the one who sent it must know. So just there you go. Rico Cruz, nice to see you, bro. John K. I got that book, John, too. Thank you. The whatever it is, the simple book. What is it, John? What is the name of it?
It's the plain language big book.
Oh, the plain language big book. Well, yeah. Jacob, I think he's still in the Hudson Valley. Nice to see you, bro. David in Ireland, another Irish character. Peter Shantz, Roman Mueller, our man in Germany. Sean in Tacoma. I think I'll be seeing Sean. He's going to come down. Yes. There's Joshua Tree, hopefully. Yeah, good. Yeah, you are. Kathy in Ohio. Nice to see you, Kathy. Another Irish, Cormac. Yes. He's ready to rumble. He's got the hat and everything. Mia, there she is. Nice to see you, Mia. Hey, thank you, everyone. Pleasure to be with you all. Remember, there's a statement in the traditions of recovery, which is, I think, describes what happens here, or hopefully does, which is a loving power expresses itself through our group conscience. Yeah, yeah, very cool. Okay, thank you. See you.